Okay, number one, the four captains are going to come up here, and I wanted to talk about them. I think our team did a tremendous job of selecting who the captains for the 2023 football team. I think the guys did a nice job. I think there was a lot of thought put in it, and I couldn't be happier for these four guys to represent San Diego State football. So very excited about that. You'll get a chance to talk with them a little bit, obviously, and it's something that I'm real proud of, all four of them. You know, we played Ohio in a bowl game in 2018. Didn't go so well. They're very physical. They're a good football team. Obviously went back and looked at that tape, you know, the offensive coordinator is now the head coach, and Tim Albin is, you know, I know he coached with Coach from Wyoming, Bull, Coach Bull. He was on his staff at North Dakota State at one point, and I know that he's a very physical-minded offensive coach. Really, they do a lot of good things. They played in the MAC championship game last year against a really good Toledo team. And then they beat Wyoming in the bowl game. They won 10 games. So they're a good football team. They have 7 returners on defense coming back. They also have 2 transfer guys who I think they're really happy with. And then there's 9 returning starters on defense, on offense. And their quarterback got hurt late in the season against Ball State. And he should be back the way, you know, I think he's 8 months out now. So he should be back. We'll find out. The guy who replaced him is a really good football player also. And so it's going to be a dogfight as normal. Really good turnover margin. I mean, you look for statistics that stand out, and that one stands out, being disciplined with the football, and also obviously doing a good job of getting the ball back. And they've done a great job with that. It's game week, and it's about time to play a football game. I think we had a good fall camp. School started today virtually, but I think, you know, where we're at right now, I'm very excited about, and I'm excited about to see how we come out on Saturday. The seniors have done a really good job with their leadership, and it's going to be fun. Any questions?
Are their quarterbacks similar enough where you don't need to have 2 different game plans depending on who?
Yeah, I think they are. I think, daggone it, I can't remember that number 10's name, but he, Bork's the C.J. Harris. He is a little more athletic, you know, but, you know, Rourke is very, you know, he's athletic enough. He can hurt you enough.
You talked about the captains. You know, we've heard a lot about how Jalen Maiden is so well respected in the team, in the locker room. What does it say about Keenan as someone who came in just last year to be able to be voted captain on the offensive side by his team?
Well, I think it's, you know, well, it's really not an offense. The guys who get the 4 most votes is how we do it. So, you know, I think there's no question that we've got good leadership in that class, period, and it does speak volumes for Keenan with coming from USC, coming here, and really becoming an asset.
Coach, what stood out to you for fall camp? You know, obviously coming into fall camp, you have an idea of what you want to do, and then now you see at the end of it, now it's game week. What kind of stood out to you about this team and the growth you guys had?
Yeah, I think as much as anything, the physicalness that we went out and played with. You know, we tried to put a lot of pressure on both sides of the ball in the kicking game, with the situational football and those kind of things that we did. But I really think that just how physical, we were out in Snapdragon twice, and both times I thought you could hear football and hear it obviously practices. You can hear football, and I think that's something that, we as a team pride ourselves on. And I think when you look at Ohio University, the same thing. They're a very physical football team.
Can you talk about some of the position battles that were decided, especially starting?
Nothing's decided yet.
Oh, okay.
We're not there. Quarterback battle's decided, obviously, but, we got some other things with the offensive line, and I'll be honest with you, defensive line, where some guys are really competing. And so, I'm excited about that. I think, you'll see, sometime Wednesday, we'll probably figure it all out. But it's part of also, keeping the pressure on, our individuals, that they know what it takes to play.
BCB was a guy who's a 2-year starter at tackle. Earlier in camp you mentioned you'd like to see more from him. Where is his standing as you head into the first game?
Well, he's done some really good things. I think he's getting, he's growing up. And that's as much as anything, is the maturity. So,
And then you got a new wide receiver on the roster, Majon Wright. He came in about a week ago. He's a former guy who played at Arizona. Is there enough time for him to be a contributor this season?
oh, I don't think there's any doubt. I think if it was an offensive lineman or something like that, that's a little more difficult, and to some degree, being a defensive lineman with what we do. I think both those positions take a little bit more time. But, he's played, he's been out there, we'll see.
Coach, game ones are always the ugliest ones by far. How do you kind of just get the mindset of these guys to say, it might not be pretty, but, if we get the win, that's truly all that matters?
Well, there's no question. We're building to win championships. I mean, championship teams aren't born, they're built, and that's what we've done since January. That's, what the guys did in summer, and that's what they did in this camp. So as we, get closer, we're excited about it, and we'll see what kind of football team we have.
Brady, is it like flying blind going into game one in terms of they may not know what you're doing because you've made so many offensive changes and they have two quarterbacks
Interesting.
that might be really different? Is it waiting to get ambushed in the first game and then adjust to it?
Well, I think you always, game one, especially with some different things that, have taken place, those are always tough, and it's a place to gauge where you're at as a team. I think, the 0 week and those kind of things, but just trying to, see exactly what we are as a football team is kind of exciting to me.
How good is Rourke compared to his brother, who's in the NFL now?
Canadian Football League, I think, isn't he?
No, he's in Jacksonville.
Is he? I don't know. I can't compare it to the brother. I wasn't here. So
Oh, you weren't?
I wasn't here. No, I've seen the brother on film, and he's pretty good, pretty accurate.
Toledo.
Got it.
Toledo was a common opponent that you guys, both Ohio and you guys played last year. The winning team didn't score more than 17 points. Should we expect similar game played in the teams this time around?
Well, I hope they don't score more than 17. I would like for us to score just a little more than 17, if that's what it takes. But, no, I mean, they're the Mid-American Conference, is good football. And there's a lot of pride, and there's a lot of good coaches in it.
You guys, just looking at the two deep, there's a lot of young players, first-time starters, first-time potential starters. How does the staff approach that with younger players? Do you guys try to stay away from having more than one young player starting in a position with
No, the best players gotta play. It doesn't matter how long they've been here. But if we don't play the best players, then, we're really not doing justice to the guys who are in the back of the room and the guys on our team. So, and that's the first thing I talk about in the first meeting that we have. In the fall and the winter, the best players gotta play. And it's our job to identify those guys. We talk about 10, 80, 10 all the time, top 10, middle 80, and bottom 10. And those are things that we talk about, and, we've got to do the job of putting the best players on the field.
What are the biggest things you guys still need to get accomplished this week to be ready for Saturday?
I think it's the details, the details to your substitutions, your rotations, having the right guys on the field. If a guy's not a great pass rusher on a third down, why would we have him on the field? If a guy can't get you 3 yards, and another guy might be able to, why not have that guy on the field? It's the details, the substitution patterns, and I think just the mental progression of getting ready to play.
Where has Jalen made the biggest jump since when you had to put him on the field in the middle of the year? And also, as a sidebar question, his linkage with Lindley, what's that been like in terms of growth?
I'll answer that one first. I think it's been really good. I think Ryan is a no-nonsense football coach. He coaches them hard. I think the guys in that room have responded, and I think him and Jalen, I think their relationship is one that's really respectful, and I think that's enabled, in my opinion, for Jalen to keep growing as a quarterback.
Brady, I know in a big picture way, wins and losses are all that matters for
Yeah.
teams. But is there value in creating an exciting product? Do you, offensively, I'm sure Ryan Lindley's part of that, a move to that type of an offense. But is there value in that as you try to sell seats over at Snapdragon? Create momentum.
The only thing I can say is win and sell seats. I do know that. And we have to do what our guys do well, because those guys are the ones playing. And I tell our staffs all the time, it's not what we know, it's what they know. And make sure we're tailoring what we're doing to what we have specifically when you look at the fundamentals and what guys do. If we don't have a front that can get to the passer, then we're going to have to bring more than 4 guys, right? Well, we got to do what they do well in those specific situations.
But is there any responsibility to try to help with that effort to get more people to seats in terms of your program? But on the flip side, it feels like you also can't only focus in a fringe area like that. You're just trying to win football games.
Yeah, that's kind of my job. I don't really think about the other part. I know if we're good and we win, then good things happen.
Hey Brady, I know a key part of being a cohesive winning football team is all being on the same page, focused on the same goal. When San Diego State did not get into the Pacific 10 Conference, did you talk to your guys at all or have to address the team on that subject?
That's a good question for them, because, yeah, well, when something would come up,
Yeah.
I would obviously say something, but you never knew anything. So what was there to say? And so, obviously, that's behind us, and Ohio U is in front of us.
All the time you spent out here on the West Coast, did you ever think you'd see a day where the Pac-12 would be in this type of disarray? What does a coach and a historian think about that?
I don't know if I'm a historian, but the one thing I do know, it's unbelievable what happened in a 2-week I don't know, when UCLA and USC went to the Big Ten, that was one of the biggest secrets, I think, because I don't know when you all knew about it, but I didn't know about it until, I'm almost positive you all did, but as far as, what's happened and what they gotta figure out, I don't know. That's way beyond my, pay grade, but it's way beyond, what's gonna happen.
You're shocked? What's this do to college football?
I don't know if, I don't know how much it's gonna affect college football, for sure. I don't know that. The transfer portal, the NIL, those things right now have, really affected college football.
Do you see college football breaking off as its own entity somewhere down the
I
road?
don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
Back to the Ohio game that's coming up this week. They've got some pretty good receivers, really good
Yeah.
running back. What do you try and stop first, if anything, or how do you attack them?
Well, you always want to stop the run. I mean, and you can ask defensive coordinators across the country and head coaches. You got to stop the run. And obviously, you want to play complementary football, right? We've got to play really clean in the special teams, and we've got to take advantage of what we have from a special team standpoint, because if we win the special teams, we're a third of the way to winning the football game.
In a week 0, but in an opening game, are there any particular potholes to watch out for that you have to really try and avoid?
The discipline, taking care of the line of scrimmage is two things that I always think about.
Of the newcomers that have been here for the first time, the nose tackle, Tupu, is he the one that's made the biggest strides, and can you compare him to what Dubai was?
That comparison probably was a better one after the season, but I think, he's come in here, he's done a nice job. Obviously, he was here in the spring, which helps, but I think he's done a nice job. He'll start for us, obviously, in there, but he's been good, Hacksaw. I think, it's hard to make that comparison right now.
Can you talk about specific players on defense who are gonna have good years in order for?
Well, up front, I think Mr. Fountain, and I would say Tupu and Dan Apoko. Those three need to have a really, really good year for us. I think the linebackers, I think we have some depth there, and a group of guys. And then the back end, I think there's some guys that are really good football players that are really going to help us.
Brady, what's the biggest thing Ryan Lindley brings your passing offense in particular?
I don't know if it's, when you say the passing offense, I think his experience as a quarterback, as the all-time leading passer as a quarterback. I think from that alone, you really, if I'm a 18 to 22-year-old or 23-year-old, and this guy's played in the NFL, he's coached in the NFL, and just how he is, I mean, that doesn't make you a great coach, but how he coaches and how he teaches, I think that is what, the offense is what it's going to be, and we'll take advantage of the personnel we have. We got good tight ends, so there might be more tight end sets. Remember I said there might be, all right? We've got some receivers that I think are growing up, and I think that's huge. So there's a little bit with 11 personnel, and I think our running back room is really good. And so I'm excited about that.
Any more questions for Coach? I have one more. Your players, you've
I hope.
Have you?
I hope so.
Okay. Now, the coaching, you addressed the coaching issue where you thought, well, maybe we didn't coach well enough coming into the first game. Can you talk about anything you've learned?
Compared to last year?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was on me. I didn't do a good enough job preparing the guys for that game and for the elements to some degree, but just overall, we went out there and we didn't play very well.
How you feel you've done this year?
I think we're much more prepared. I think the hunger that the guys have shown and how they've been physical and how they played is pretty. I'm proud of how they went through fall camp. So now we'll be proud how we play against OU, Ohio University.
Kyron White is no longer listed on the updated roster. Is he off the team? Was that a player decision, a coach's decision?
He's not on the team.